Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, folks, and today we're going to be talking about an interesting film. We've got Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This is a John Hughes directed comedy film from 1987. And in this film, easily excitable Neal Page is somewhat of a control freak trying to get home to Chicago to spend Thanksgiving with his wife and kids. His flight is rerouted to a distant city in Kansas because of a freak snowstorm, and his sanity begins to fray. Worse yet, he is forced to bunk up with talkative Griffith, who he finds extremely annoying. Together they must overcome the insanity of holiday travel to reach their intended destinations, man.
Yeah.
And this film has an interesting cast. We've got John Candy and Steve Martin, two comedy giants colliding and collaborating on this film. We've also got Laila Robins, Michael McKean, Kevin Bacon, Dylan Baker, Edie McClurg, Martin Ferrero, Larry Hankin, Luli Newcomb, and many more, man. Also, Ben Stein pops up in this, man.
Yes, he does.
Shout out to Ben Stein, man. Anybody else notable?
Now you covered all the big dogs. And one thing funny about Martin Ferrero, he's also the guy who the T-Rex ate off the toilet in Jurassic Park.
That's funny, man. so what are your initial thoughts on this film, though, man? What did you think of it?
This film is the benchmark and the inspiration for your travel film when riding with an obnoxious travel companion. You know what I'm saying? This one set the tone and inspired so many other films. And, I also, since this film came out in 1987, like watching this movie is like a time warp to the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the flow of the film, and traveling in the 80s is so different comparably to how traveling in the time we live in now, because of all of the conveniences that we are so accustomed to having now. Internet, cell phone, Airbnbs, I mean all these things.
It's interesting, like watching this and watching that play out. I think we do have that technology, but we still deal with the same issues, man. The airport delays, you can't get a rental car. There's no more cars to rent out.
But the thing
You're
is,
still stuck.
but
like,
you can call it Uber. Maybe.
Yeah,
see, they don't have, so, and it's nice to see, that portrayal of how you had to maneuver when you don't have these things at your fingertips. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so accustomed to it now. So I really like that. But, outside of that, what really sells the story for me is the practicality. I mean, this film really exemplifies the thought of like, this could happen to me. If all the wrong things go the right way at the wrong time, I, as an individual, could be thrust into this kind of a situation.
It happens all the time, man. Especially holidays. Like, all it takes is one, like, United their computer system goes down, and you might be in that airport for 48 hours, bro.
Yeah.
And that's not comfortable, man. They don't make them seats. They ain't designed where you can lay out and stretch.
I mean, and we all know the cardinal rule, stranger danger. But I mean, if you kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and somebody, is offering, a better way, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're just forced into that kind of position.
There was a thing that went viral where these people got stranded, and they were total strangers, and they pulled together and rented like a van. They drove from I think Canada into I think Michigan. That's where they were going, and they just took rented a van. So that was kind of a cool, but it don't always work out like that.
I was about to say, if we all up and we riding, cool, but like as far as like someone just coming up like, yeah, let's go half on a hotel room. Hell no, you could be a killer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I can't go to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
I might just take some clothes out my bag and make a bootleg bed.
That's it.
Lay on the floor in the airport.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But this story, it really excels and thrives through the character development and what we get from Neal, played by Steve Martin, and John Candy, who plays Dell. You know what I'm saying? They are the ones who really make this movie what it is and so memorable. Both of these guys, Martin and Candy, they're hilarious in this. And what I like is that their comedy works because they're on two completely different platforms with how they deliver. Like, whereas Steve Martin is a little more sarcastic and John Candy's more slapstick. You know what I'm saying? And I think it gives us a nice bit of difference, but it meshes together so well.
I mean, their personalities are real, opposite too, because as it said in the synopsis, Martin's character, he's more, he's used to things being orderly. He's used to being in control of the situation. He's not necessarily a bad businessman, at least from the stuff that I'm seeing. Like even with the cab situation, he's fair. He's even too nice at some points. You know what I'm saying? So it makes me wonder how he even got into this business and got to this high level. Because businessman, I mean, you kind of got to be cold. But Candy is more outgoing, extroverted, just flying by the seat of his pants, improvisational, like these situations, he probably thrives in trying to figure stuff out. Whereas with
Martin's more structured.
Yeah. This is probably really killing him. Just being in it, period. That's eating away at him. Not having control of the outcome of this failed trip.
Yes, and also I think it's more situational for Neal, who's played by Martin, because this is 2 days before Thanksgiving. He's at a business trip in New York. He needs to make it back to Chicago so he can spend Thanksgiving with his family. Whereas
Neal, you can't Uber that far.
No, hell no.
You gonna max out the car. So, like I said, man.
And to your point, where Del is just kind of like. He's not moving aimlessly, but he's moving without direction. He's like going where the wind takes him.
I could probably see these guys being cool if there was a local bar that they both went to and they just got to talking and they met there like once a week or a couple times a week for happy hour. Like, hey, how's it going, Dale? Yeah, I'm good, Neal. Versus I think the pressure of the situation makes his quirks even more intolerable, more aggravating. What I'm saying?
Yes. And things like where like you can tell Neal, he's the kind of guy that he lives life by a routine, like you were saying, very structured, very systematic. And we see this when they the first night they spend in the hotel, whereas like Del, on the other hand, he makes a mess in the bathroom. He offers to let Neal take his shower first. Neal's respectfully declines. John Candy, he uses all the towels. He leaves water on the floor. Then he shakes beers up on the bed. He smokes cigarettes in the hotel, and Martin don't smoke cigarettes.
He's a pig, bro.
He's a pig. He's a slob. He's clearing his throat. They trying to sleep. He's all hawk spitting. Just all kinds of just things that if you're not used to that or accustomed to that or have to or do those things yourself, it will really throw you off your path. You know what I'm saying? To the point where Steve Martin was like, yo, I can't deal with you, bro. I'm going to sleep in the lobby. Man. I don't want to be around you.
He's a bit aloof, man. He don't really think about what other people, how they're going to react to him, man. It's just... Yeah, man, and I don't think it's a malicious thing. It's just the way he is, It's not like he's doing it on purpose, but it's like, damn, dude, you asking a lot of tolerance, bro, from people.
A lot, but then the thing is where he comes in clutch is because of the way that he is and because of his personality. He also has a lot of connections on the road. He's got connections on the road. Like after they get their stuff stolen in the hotel room, he's cool enough with the hotel guy that the hotel guy tells his son to give him a ride to the train station. Or when they're on the bus and he gives Neal an opportunity to be cool and he's like, yeah, sing a song, and no one knows Neal's song, he jumps in with the Flintstones song. I mean, so like his personality shines through and saves the day multiple times, but at the same time there are other things that he does. It's just like, man, I don't know, like when they were driving, bro, like he's a walking ball of chaos. Like my man tries to take his coat off, arm gets stuck. Instead of just stopping the car, pulling over and stopping, he wants to try to pull his arm out, do all this crazy stuff. You almost wreck the car. Then you put yourself on the wrong side of the road, drive between trucks, set the car on fire because you didn't flick your cigarette out. I mean, this like he is so problematic unintentionally, but like I said, that's what brings the funny to this movie as a whole and to this story. And what I really like too is like when you look at this, we've seen other films with Steve Martin or John Candy, and it feels like in this they're not really playing character roles. They're almost like giving us extensions of their real personalities, like how they might really maneuver through life or really handle these kind of situations if they were thrust in this situation in the real world as the humans that they are.
Yeah, definitely feel fleshed out and alive, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a wild thing, man. Like I said, man, I think there is some fun seeing how they just figure out this puzzle of getting home and just more. It's almost Pee Wee Big Adventurous, man.
Yes.
You know, I'm trying to get you know, they're not trying to get their bike back, but it's the same kind of. It's a road trip film, you know, and like
Absolutely.
you said, there's a lot of films that bit off of the structure, man, later on. Like even if you think about you know, it's interesting, Candy's in this and also in Home Alone, there's that element that's away from Kevin where you see the family kind of going through the same thing, trying to get back so they can go you know, get to Kevin, you know what I'm saying, while he's home by himself. They're in the airport trying to figure out the logistics and planning flights and figuring out how they can you know, get home as well. So that's kind of interesting, man, you know.
Yes, it's a laundry list. Like, I mean, you had 2010's Due Date, you got 1995's Tommy Boy, even think of 2001's Shrek, you know what I'm saying? Or that film Dutch with Ed O'Neill and the other little kid. I mean, these films have been made over and over and over again, and they don't lose their luster because this is a concept that a lot of people can relate to. Most people in their life have traveled somewhere at some point in time and things did not go the way they planned. 80% of this film is just certified funny. It's just like you're just looking at this stuff. You're like, man, this shit's insane. But then once you get into the third phase, it's so gratifying to see, you know, them take a break from the funny and really tap into, you know, human nature and these two characters as who they are as Neal and Del. They part ways for the last time. Neal's about to be home. And he's kind of playing back in his mind all the conversations that they had, all the craziness that they went through and everything. And he realizes that John Candy or Del was telling him that pretty much he has nobody in his life. I mean, he talks about his wife, but she's no longer with him anymore because she has passed away. And, you know, from that's where, you know, Neal, he gets a gut check. He's like, man, you know, this dude was telling me the whole time that he was alone. And, you know, and I was just pushing him away too, just for being the way he was. And, he ends up, getting off the train, bringing him back to his home and allowing Del to be part of his family element and celebrate Thanksgiving with his family, which that is like to have a film that's just so infused and injected with so much funny and then almost turn into a tearjerker at the end was just really cool.
Having that heart moment, the element, that brings it home, nice little neat package,
little something to add to the holiday festivities, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna try and get all sentimental and shit, but it made me feel good when I saw it,
They do run into some interesting characters along the way, even from the start, man. We get Kevin Bacon's taxi cab cameo.
Oh man, yes, dude.
That's kind of interesting,
Yes.
And just some other moments where people pop up kind of as oddball characters that kind of show up and help them along.
Dalen Barker as Owen, the son that gives them the ride, like he was a trip to me. He's like, this weird, like tobacco chewing, like hawk spitting, mean to his wife and stuff. He was a trip. And then Ben Stein, like that. One thing about Ben Stein is it's him. You don't even gotta look at the TV. You hear that voice. I always think of the Visine commercials.
I'm gonna look the same my whole life though. That's wild though. Maybe when I was younger he had less gray hair, but like that is wild.
Yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, I think that the cameos were really cool, and it's nice that this cast was so deep. So many people came out to show love for this film, but I mean, all of them are spot checks. You know what I'm saying? Like this film totally revolves around Candy and Martin. So everybody else is just really like the sprinkles on the icing on the cake of what this film delivers. And what I also like too is the setting, because ultimately it is a revolving door. It is a moving piece of art through this film. Like they're never in one place for too long. You know what I'm saying? Where, you might go from the office to the street, to the cab, to the airport to a hotel, to even when they're riding around in that burnt up, broke down ass car. I mean, these are all like just memorable set pieces along the way to ultimately bring him home. And I just thought that was really cool to do that in a way where, you know, it makes everything feel that much more real and representative to the elements of this film that they really want to push to the forefront. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, another thing that I thought was funny, so I didn't know this out gate, but I thank Wiki for this, but they said that no travel agencies wanted to be affiliated with this film in negative context. So airports, taxi cabs, rental cars, like they had to build set pieces for the airports and come up with, you know, their own commercial liners, build their own shirts, rent cars from all these different places and come up with their own, you know, car rental place. You know,
yeah, it makes sense, man. You see that a lot though, even with when it comes to just putting a car in the vehicle. Like, we don't want you to crash our vehicle, or we don't want to show it in certain light. It happened in video games sometimes too, more product placement. You know, like remember some of those racing game series, you know, a lot of the manufacturers, you know, turned them down if the game was going to show any kind of damage to the vehicles. I'm like, that's weird, but cars can get hurt. But I could understand a business not wanting to, you know, align to this, because then you can get the reputation. Oh man, you fly Spirit.
Yeah,
you know, like people
all them delays. You know what I'm saying? Or if you rent from this place, they gonna drive you out to the lot, and then your car gonna be gone, and you screwed. You know what I'm saying? You gonna have to curse the person out.
It's all a crapshoot, man. I miss my sister's high school graduation, messing around with I think it was United Airlines, man, and I was supposed to leave out. You know, and I was supposed to arrive in North Carolina that night about 8 p.m. But I get to the airport on time, and their systems is down. And they never came back up until the next morning. So the best I could do, well, actually, no, they came back online that night. And the best they could do was give me a flight for the morning, which would have got me there late. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so it was real crappy, man. They did give me a voucher, because I had to go out of another airport. I had to go from, I think I was at Ronald Reagan, so I had to go to Dulles. So they gave me a voucher for the cab to get over there. And I still owed the cab driver like $10. I'm like, man, this was whack, yo. Like, it was terrible, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I was having a planes, trains, and automobile experience. You know?
Dude, I think that's why this movie hits so hard, because we all have had them. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's on simpler terms, where, like, you know, you might be riding out somewhere, your car break down. You know what I'm saying? You catch a flat tire, or it's endless the amount of things that can happen when you're on the road of travel, and that can just really impact and affect, you know, getting from point A to point B. You know, and I was just reading this too. I like that this film is condensed. I want to say it clocks in at about an hour and a half, plays fast. But initially, John Hughes, he wrote this as a short story, because of a travel experience that he had, and then he, of course, extended the short story into, you know, the script and everything. Initially, this film was going to be 3 hours and 45 minutes long. Wow. That is way too long. Yeah. That's way too much. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think comedies clock in that long, bro. It's hard to be funny for 3 hours. That's crazy.
And it was also saying that, you know, he had to cut out so much extra material because there was so much additional subplots and extra scenes that would have really just changed the course path of this film. Like for instance, there was a part where Neal was talking to his wife about how he just met Dell and they're shacking up in the hotel, and then Neal's wife goes down a path of thinking that he was actually with another woman having an affair and all that stuff. It's like, you know, some of those things, you just, you know, it's better off just like leaving that stuff out, especially if you want to just keep the funny at the forefront and all the way turned up the way that this film did. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like I said, with the jokes, the way that they're landing, I mean, it's like just gut punches, you know, constant, bing, 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 you know? So I thought that was really cool to, you know, shout out to the editing process, because they did that in the best way possible to make this film, you know, have a high success rate.
Yeah, man. But I think that's it, man. We can wrap up this episode of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And this is definitely a holiday favorite. You know, people check this out around this time of year, you know, as long as, along with the immediately following Christmas movies, you know. So that's interesting, man. Like I said, man, you got two comedy giants, man, you know, showing up in the same thing. This is kind of like when Martin and Eddie got together, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So that's wild.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And rest in peace, John Candy. You know, this was one of his, I think one of his best best roles, my personal opinion, because he just laid it all out on the line. And the film has a high level of rewatchability, like you said, especially around this time, Thanksgiving time, with that being, you know, the meat and potatoes of why Neal is trying to get home. And on that note, you know, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Eat good, get fat and happy on purpose. You know what I'm saying? We all deserve it. You know, it's been a long year, so you know,
man, stuffing is trash, man.
I get down with the stuffing, dog. I get down with the stuffing.
All right, y'all, man, I'm out of here.